Hey you guys, how you doing? Today I'm going to read a book that's called Recess at 20 Below Zero. So I'm from Minnesota, obviously, and we have a rule that if the wind chill isn't below 20 below, we go out for recess. And this book is written by a teacher in Alaska, and they go out if it's 20 below zero. And now think about zero and go 20 degrees colder. That's how cold it is there. So I'm going to read and then show you some pictures. This is one of my favorite books. I met the author, so hopefully you'll like it. Recess at 20 below. The cold takes your breath away and makes the inside nose stick together. So I tug my scarf up all the way to my eyes. The snow on the ground sparkles like diamonds, and the air is filled with tiny ice crystals twinkling out of the sky. Crunch, crunch, crunch. When I walk, it sounds like I'm wading through the bag of potato chips. No chance of sneaking up on anyone in this stuff. When it's that cold, the snow sounds squeaky. You can see the one in the mask. I live in Alaska, right along the Alaska Highway. Winter lasts a long, long time here. It seems like forever, but really there's only snow on the ground from September until April. September, October, November, December, January, February, April. 7 months out of the year they have snow. But sometimes we get a snowstorm in May or even in August. At our school, we go out for recess even when it's 20 degrees below zero. We have to wear a lot of clothes when it gets that freezy. Look, they have a little moose crossing. So they're way north because they have moose. Getting dressed to go out takes a long time. First, we wiggle and squirm and twist into our thick snow pants. Then we pull on our winter boots and zip our parkas as high as the zippers will go. We don't want any cold air getting in. Next come the hats. Some hats cover our whole faces, so you can only see our eyes and mouths peeking out. Since we need our fingers to put on all our clothes, our mittens or gloves are the last to go on. So there's the snow pants and the boots and the hat and the scarf. And then finally they put on their mittens or gloves. Finally we're ready to go outside and play, but I can hardly move in all the winter gear. I'm as big as a sumo wrestler. As I waddle down the hall, I usually see someone run back to go to the bathroom. Sure hope they make it. Look how big he is. When we get outside, I look for my friends. All we can see is each other's eyes, so it helps to remember what colors they are wearing. Samantha reminds me of a giant pickle in her green parka, and Megan, who is dressed like all in purple, looks like a jar of grape jelly. So here she looks like a pickle, and they looks like grape jelly because it's all purple. It's fun to go sledding during recess. Every time it snows, our maintenance man clears the snow from the school parking lot, and he dumps it right in the middle of the playground. Our sledding hill grows and grows all winter long. After a few months, it seems like Mount McKinley, the highest mountain in Alaska and North America. We climb to the top and jump on our sleds. Yippee! So they keep piling up the snow, and then the kids have their sleds, and they can sled down the big hill that they made. So that's just all snow. Sometimes we play on the swings. By the middle of the winter, the snow gets so deep there's no room for our legs. We have to throw the swing over the top to make the chain shorter. And the teeter-totters usually freeze to the ground. Bang, bang, bang. We have to kick them over and over again to break off the ice. Before anyone goes down the slide, it's covered with ice crystals that sparkle like glitter. It's like sliding down a glacier. So here you can see the swing set. They're all the way there, so it's touching the ground. There's the teeter-totter. And then there's, you can see, if you look really close, can you see the sparkles on the slide? Yeah. When it's this cold, we have to be careful never to touch our tongue to something metal. It will stick there. When a teacher will have to use a hairdryer or pour a glass of warm water over to get your tongue free, how embarrassing. The snowball fights aren't as easy as you might think when the air is so dry. When it's really, really cold, our snow is like powder. We can't even make snowballs, but we like throwing in the air anyway. We toss up puffy snow clouds, swirling tornadoes. So if she touches that to the metal, the water will freeze to the metal and her tongue will be frozen there. And you can't pull it off or rip the skin off your tongue. So it's kind of a bad thing. And here they can't make snowballs because it's too cold, but look, they can throw it in the air. So it's kind of funny. When the wind blows, the snow gets packed hard, and then we can break it into chunks like giant bricks. We stack the chunks to make forts that go high above our heads. Inside our forts, we keep nice and warm, even when the wind is howling outside. Sometimes we make tunnels in the snow too. When we pop our heads out, we look just like a bear cubs spying in action. The only bad part is when the snow goes down our backs while we're tunneling. Brr, is that cold. So they have a big snow pile and they're making a tunnel in there. Some days we play soccer or football during recess. Even at 20 below zero, you can get too hot. It's hard work running in big heavy boots and thick snow pants. The more you move, the warmer we get. So they're playing soccer. Playing hard means breathing hard. The moisture from our breath floats up to our faces and makes our eyelashes freeze. They feel so thick and heavy, it's hard to even keep them open. The hair around our face also gets white with frost, so we look old and gray. Some people say that frozen hair will break if you touch it, but mine never has. So especially look at the eyes, like her eyes. You can see her eyelids or eyelashes are frozen, and hers, look how big they are and frozen. Yeah. If it's colder than 20 below, we have to stay inside for recess. If it's too dangerous to be outside then. One day we had to stay inside not because of the cold, but we had a visitor on our playground. A moose decided to munch some lunch at our school all day. So you can see the moose. She came and ate the willow bushes along the fence. Moose aren't the only wild animals that come to visit. Once I saw a fox sprint through the teeter-totters. Another day, ravens attacked our soccer field. Our teacher had drawn some boundary lines with bright red Kool-Aid on the snow, and the ravens swooped down from the sky and gobbled it up. Look at, they're all standing on watching the moose. That's kind of funny. Our recess is always at noon because it's the sunniest time of the day in my part of Alaska. It isn't very bright though, more like early morning. The sun rises and sets in just 3 hours. It barely peaks above the mountains. We come to school and go home in the pitch black dark. And if it's cloudy and snowing during recess, the sky gets dark even at noon. And it feels like it should get our flashlights out. But it sure makes for good games of hide and seek. So the sun's only up for 3 hours a day. Now imagine that, the sun's only up for 3 hours. By the time the whistle blows to go inside, our cheeks are bright red, our noses are running, and our toes are numb. When we line up, we create a cloud of ice fog from everyone's breathing at once in one place. Our breath freezes into tiny specks of ice that hang in the cold air. So you can see that little fog, they kind of built their own clouds. Yeah. Clomp, clomp, clomp. We sound like a bunch of elephants walking the hallways in our big clumsy boots. When we get to class, we peel off our winter gear. Lots of us get wild hair because the air is so dry and our hair is full of static. Sometimes we get big shocks too as we pull off our hats. Ouch! It can really zap. So there they are walking down the hall. And there they are with their weird hair, and you can see it's all frizzy. Like it's all puffy because it's all dry and staticky. So staticky means it piles up. Our classroom sure is a mess with snow pants, parkas, mittens, hats, and boots piled all over the place. Everyone tries to hang up their stuff all at once, so it's easy to get your snow gear mixed up. It seems like we spend hours hunting for the right hat or mitten to hang on our hooks. When we finally settle into our chairs to begin our afternoon lessons, I stare out the frosty window and hope it's not colder than 20 below tomorrow. I can't wait to get back outside and make sure our fort is still there. Or maybe I'll go sledding. So there's all their stuff hung up and kind of packed and piled. Their snow pants and their gloves. And there she's looking out the window, hoping it'll be nice the next day. It won't be long until the sun will feel a tiny bit warm during recess. Then we'll see our sledding mountain shrink, and we'll hear the drip, drip, drip of melting icicles. We'll stow our sleds until next winter and get ready for the midnight sun to chase away the darkness. One day, not too far from now, we'll be riding our bikes at 10 p.m. at night, because the sun will only go down for 3 hours. But until then, I love recess at 20 below. So their days are so weird. In the winter and December, their day is only 3 hours long. They only have sunlight for 3 hours. And then in